The season begins with a flashback before the events of Dune, where the last free humans claim victory over the thinking machines in the butlerian jihad. Valya Harkonnen narrates how history praises the House Atreides for the victory, while portraying her great-grandfather as a coward who fled the battle. This branded the entire House Harkonnen as cowards, and they were exiled to live in a barren world as punishment. However, Valya believes these are all lies, and she sets out to set things straight. Many years later, Valya and her sister Tula join the Bene Gesserit sisterhood on Wallach 9, serving as truth-sayers for the great houses of the Imperium. The founder and mother superior of this order, Raquel Anirul, trains the sisters to control their minds and bodies to attain strong psychic abilities, sharp observation, and an inner voice to control their minds. Valya thinks of Raquel as her real mother, but she is treated as an outcast due to her Harkonnen lineage. However, when Raquel is on her deathbed, she asks for Valya and warns her about a future reckoning, the Turan Arafel. Both ladies see a vision where a giant sandworm swallows the entire Bene Gesserit headquarters in the desert, followed by a set of blue mechanical eyes chanting some robotic words from the sky. Raquel then tells Valya that she will be the one to see the burning truth. After Raquel's passing, tensions soar high among the sisters. Despite Raquel's last words regarding Valya, the Reverend Mother Dorothea, who is also Raquel's granddaughter's successor, refuses to step aside for Valya. When she threatens to destroy the genetic matrix that the Bene Gesserit uses to record the genes of all the great houses, Valya uses the voice and orders Dorothea to kill herself. 30 years later, Valya runs the sisterhood as Mother Superior, and Tula is her most trusted advisor. They teach young girls from all over the galaxies about the human brain, particularly about lying, truth-saying, and martial arts. Valya keeps a strong hold on the great houses with her truth-sayers, who influence the houses to marry according to a secret breeding program devised by Valya. When the sisterhood prepares to welcome Princess Inez Corrino, heir to the Golden Throne, Valya makes sure everyone is aware that Inez will marry 9-year-old Pruitt Richesi, as this union will stabilize the Corrino bloodline for many centuries to come. However, Inez has to wait for 10 years till Pruitt comes of age. Until then, she is to train at the sisterhood, ensuring that Valya's dream of having a sister on the Golden Throne comes true. In the next scene, we see the Imperial truth-sayer Kasha Jinjo, who serves Emperor Haviko Corrino, living in Salusa Secundus. The Emperor sees no other way to control the spice supply on Arrakis, other than forming an alliance with the House Richez. Native to Arrakis, a rare psychotropic substance called spice has been harvested and controlled by the Imperium from the beginning of times. Generations of mankind have collected this spice since it enables intergalactic traveling and enhances cognition. Moments later, a soldier named Desmond Hart pays a visit to the Emperor. This soldier used to fight for the Imperial forces on Arrakis and miraculously survived an attack that killed his entire regiment. Before Haviko can invite him to the engagement party, Desmond tells the Emperor that his regiment was not killed by Fremen, but by rebel Imperial insurgents. Ever since Desmond's arrival, Kasha has been having disturbing visions where a sandworm engulfs Inez, who screams that Kasha did this. The vision ends with blue eyes and a foreign language, similar to Raquel's vision. Kasha relays her concerns to Valya to stop the wedding, but she dismisses them and asks her to stay the night at the sisterhood headquarters. Later at the engagement ceremony, Inez notices that young Pruitt is too stubborn, but she knows she will be able to control him well after her 10 years at the sisterhood. Also, Inez has a secret affair with her swordmaster Kieran Atreides, so she is not worried. Everything goes well until Pruitt accidentally releases his robot pet at the reception. Since all robots and thinking machines have been banned ever since the Butlerian Jihad, Empress Natalia wants to call off the wedding, but Haviko refuses to. Frustrated at Pruitt, Inez lashes out at him and goes to a nightclub later with her half-brother, Constantine, and later sleeps with Kieran Atreides after using some spice. Meanwhile, at the palace, Desmond tells the Emperor that he might be wrong about marrying off his daughter in the House of Richese. While it may pacify the Freemen, his real threat is the Imperial insurgency. The masses are not too happy with how only the most powerful houses benefit from the spice. Also, Desmond believes the sisters are up to something, since he should have also died from the attack on his regiment, as everyone else did, but instead he was reborn with no fear. Sensing the Emperor's unease with Inez's wedding, Desmond goes to meet young Pruitt, claiming that a war is inevitable, and then he uses a greater power to sacrifice Pruitt, who starts burning from the inside and dies. Simultaneously, this attack immolates Kasha at the sisterhood too, while Valya and the sisters watch helplessly. Kasha's singed body reminds Valya of the burning truth Raquel told her about. Leaving Tula in charge of the school, Valya decides to visit the Salusa Salusa Secundus. But before that, she asks Tula to ask her protege Lila, Raquela's great-great-granddaughter, to undergo the agony ritual to unlock her other memory and make contact with Raquela. Lila is a little upset that the sisters kept her heritage a secret from her, but she is dutiful, so when Tula informs her that she can accept or refuse the ritual, Lila accepts. Tula drops the Rosak poison in Lila's eyes, causing her agonizing pain as she finds herself surrounded by her dead ancestors, until she finds Raquela. She tells Lila about a revenant full of scars who was born twice. Before Lila can return, she learns that her grandmother Dorotea was killed by Valia. Dorotea possesses Lila and calls out Tula for the crimes of her sister. Then she seemingly kills Lila to destroy the sister's hope, and Lila falls dead. On the other hand, Natalia ignites Duke Ferdinand Richese when she mentions that Pruitt's death is accidental. Desmond confesses to Haviko that he was swallowed by a sandworm, and he is the one who killed Pruitt for him since he wanted to stop Inez's wedding. Haviko has him arrested, but Natalia believes Desmond might be of use. Meanwhile, Constantine sleeps with Lady Shannon, daughter of Ferdinand Richese, and he lets slip that Desmond might have something to do with Pruitt's death. Just as Duke Ferdinand confronts Haviko, Valia walks in, bringing the news of Kasha's death, who died just like Pruitt. Desmond confesses to both the murders, so Valia asks for an interrogation. Desmond tells her that the Sheh Hulud, a Freeman term for the giant sandworm, gave him an eye that enables him to see beyond the ordinary, and that the sisterhood is using the houses for their ulterior motives. On the other hand, we learn that Kirin Atrides is secretly an anti-Imperial insurgent, and he has built a complete layout of the royal palace for the rebels. As it happens, he was a part of the insurgent attack on Desmond's unit, and their next target is Salusa Secundus, as he discusses with Horus and Freeman's spy Michaela. The latter is also an undercover sister, and she spies for Valia. She gives Valia a list of Arrakis rebels whom the sisterhood support undercover, and asks her to turn them in to regain House Carino's trust. In the next scene, when Duke Ferdinand threatens the Emperor, Desmond burns him as a warning, stopping only at the Emperor's behest. Later, Valia returns to the palace and Desmond confronts her, claiming that the Emperor no longer needs her services and Desmond will destroy the sisterhood. When Valia instinctively uses her inner voice to have Desmond slit his own throat, he successfully resists it, which leaves Valia shocked. Being inside the Shai Hulud has given Desmond unlimited powers, and this scares Valia. In the next scene, Valia leaves the palace with resentment and asks the other sisters to return to their assigned houses. Michaela informs Valia that Lila did not survive the agony ritual, but she made contact with Raquela and narrates those words about the revenant. In a flashback, a young Valia returns home to her siblings Griffin and Tula. When her uncle mentions that Vorian Atrides is mysteriously back, Valia decides to meet him to take back his lies about House Harkonnen that he told the Landsraad, an alliance of all the houses. Griffin joins the Landsraad to seek commercial privileges but is killed allegedly by Vorian. While Valia vows to avenge him, her parents send her to the sisterhood. There, Dorotea taunts her for being a Harkonnen when Valia asks if sisters can keep the truth hidden from rulers. In the next scene, all the acolytes are supposed to put the sisterhood first in a rainy vow-taking ceremony, but Valia refuses to. Dorotea mocks her and leaves, but Raquela shows up and Valia uses her voice to impress her. The two grow close, and one day Raquela takes Valia into a tunnel where she shows her masterpiece, Anirul, the genetic matrix containing the genetic makeup of all the great houses that she made with the help of computers, which have been forbidden ever since the butlerian jihad. Valia promises to keep the secret and confides in her friends that Mother Superior might actually choose her as the successor. One day, Mother Superior asks both Dorotea and Valia to partake in the agony ritual, as they are both the strongest sisters. When Valia refuses, Raquela sends Valia back to Lankive, along with some Rossic poison, telling her to return only as a reverend mother or never. When Valia returns home, she learns that Tula concealed her Harkonnen identity from her lover, Ori Atrides, and after joining his family camp, Tula slaughtered his family and killed Ori too to avenge Griffin's murder. Their parents blame Valia for the massacre, which upsets her, and she almost has her mother kill herself when she uses the voice on her. Valia eventually puts herself through agony and survives, after which Tula also joins the sisterhood. Back to the present, Tula has a hard time letting go of Lila, who is in a coma. After pretending to euthanize her, Tula takes her to the secret tunnel and connects her to a thinking/life support machine with spice in it to rejuvenate Lila. On the other hand, Valia goes to visit her extended family, the Harkonnens. In the next scene, all sisters in the sisterhood are experiencing bizarre nightmares where their eyes are sewn shut and they slit their throats. Sister Jen is the only one who is resistant to the nightmares and saves Emmeline from committing suicide. Tula has them all take a spice pill and draw what they saw. They all draw the mechanical blue eyes and the sandworms. Meanwhile, Inez hears Desmond's murder confession and tells Kieran. Together, Kieran and Horace acquire an explosive drone to kill Haviko at a Lansard gathering. But Michaela relays this information to Valya, who plans to save the Emperor to gain his trust. Valya also becomes House Harkonnen's truthsayer after denying them 4 times earlier, and they plan on probing around young Pruitt's death so the council can question Haviko. In the next scene, Desmond is given footage of Horace collaborating with the Ixian smuggler for the drone, so he takes matters into his own hands. Just before Harrow Harkonnen can confront the Emperor about Pruitt's death, Inez announces that Desmond killed him. However, Desmond justifies it because Pruitt had a forbidden machine. Then he burns the smuggler and Horace while Kieran looks uncomfortably from a distance. This time around, Desmond's powers are too much for him and he starts bleeding, so Valya acquires some of his blood to be sent to Tula to analyze what he actually is. Meanwhile, Tula dreams that she kills Emmeline as she knows her secrets. She wakes up to find Lila awake, with glowing eyes like the Freeman. In the next scene, Valya kills her uncle, who berated her all of her life, and then her companion, Sister Theodosia, who is a shapeshifter, takes on the appearance of Griffin. Moving on, Haviko appoints Desmond as an elite regiment's Bashar. During the ceremony, Sister Francesca shows up to see her son Constantine. Being the Emperor's ex-lover, Francesca still has a hold on him. Valya asks Francesca to make the Emperor's heart soft for the sisterhood again, so they can regain their control over House Carino and have Princess Inez study at the school. Baron Harrow Harkonnen learns of his aunt's ulterior motives and reports to Desmond, apologizing for challenging Haviko earlier. Desmond asks him to bring him proof of the sisters' complicity in rebel spice smuggling. Tula learns that Lila is possessed by Raquela, who is proud of Valya's efforts. Leela then isolates a virus that caused Kasha's death. However, Sister Avila finds out about her and is appalled since they all thought Lila was dead. On Francesca's insistence, Haviko puts Constantine at a good rank. Desmond figures out Michaela's bar is where insurgents meet, so he goes there with his troops and finds spice. He taunts Michaela for hurting the Freeman, and in response, Michaela detonates the chain explosives and escapes with Kieran. He notices her sisterhood knife and realizes that she is a sister. With her bar gone, Michaela visits Valya, who asks her to return to Arrakis. This makes Michaela feel exploited, and she warns Valya that she won't betray the Freemans as she did the rebels. Meanwhile, Constantine is briefed by his mother Francesca to protect his sister at all costs. Constantine comes across Kieran's locker, and on finding the blueprint of the castle, he happily rats Kieran out to Desmond. Haviko then makes Constantine the fleet commander and tasks him with pacifying Arrakis. Next, Inez interrogates Kieran and learns that he just wanted the Imperium to be a better place for the commoners. On the other hand, Tula is shocked to realize that Desmond has Atreides and Harkonnen blood. Simultaneously, Desmond tells Natalia that his mother was a sister that left him to scavengers. Natalia, humiliated by Haviko's open love for Francesca, declares her hatred for the sisterhood as it stole her status and her daughter, after which she kisses Desmond. In a flashback, we see young Valya convince Tula and 2 other acolytes that Dorothea took her own life. Later, Tula tells her that she is pregnant with Ori's child and she wants to keep it. Valya promises to help her raise the baby. In another flashback, Valya shows the girls a breeding index and how calculated breeding will help them eventually have a sister on the throne, starting with Francesca imprinting on a young Haviko, whom she plans mating to Natalia. She tells Tula her baby is destined for greatness. In another flashback, Tula kisses her newborn baby boy and swaps it with a stillborn, sending her baby away with the midwife who promises to take care of him. This is why Valya thinks her nephew died at birth. Back in the present, Tula and Nazir figure out that fear feeds the virus, being a bioweapon under Desmond's control. They try to make an antidote, but in the process, Nazir has to face her fear head-on and she ends up burning to her death. On the other hand, Inez tries to rescue Kieran, so Natalia arrests her. Haviko demands that Inez be released, but Desmond disagrees as he's now taking orders from Natalia. On the other hand, Valya gives Francesca the gum jabber needle, a meta-cyanide poison to kill Haviko. Francesca believes it is unnecessary, but Valya wants it done. Valya then arrives at the royal palace and mocks the emperor that his life was always manipulated by the sisters. He gets her arrested, which is exactly what Valya wanted. She helps Inez escape, who also frees Kieran, while Theodosia pretends to be Inez and then later becomes a guard that stabs Desmond. Back in the palace, Haviko threatens Francesca when he learns of her mission, but she reminds him he cannot hurt her. When he realizes he was controlled all of his life, he stabs himself. Suddenly, Natalia walks in and pricks Francesca with the gum jabber needle, instantly killing her. On the other hand, the possessed Lila shows everyone the skeletons of Dorothea's followers in a well, who were compelled to kill themselves by Valya. After this, Lila destroys Anirul, the sister's thinking machine. With all this happening, Desmond triggers Valya's virus, and she collapses until Tula finds her and helps her abandon her fear. Valya wants to kill Desmond, but Tula reveals who he actually is. Valya tells her that she saw the shadow of a man who forcibly implanted thinking machine technology in Desmond's right eye, and she will find out who they are, especially as they know of Desmond's potential. In the end, Tula hugs Desmond, who embraces her before she is arrested, while Valya, Kieran, and Inez leave for Arrakis. With that, the movie ends. Thanks for watching Dune Prophecy. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Welcome, sci-fi fans. Futurist Flicks is thrilled to launch our exclusive membership program, designed for loyal fans like you. By joining, you'll unlock early access to recap videos, unseen recap videos, raffle prizes, free merch giveaways, exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insights, access to community events, live streams, and Q&A sessions. Join the Cosmic Crew today and get instant access to exclusive perks. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more intergalactic adventures.